When I first met Tam, she was sat talking to another guy, and I was in a nightclub, and we caught eyes over the dance floor, and I walked over to her and asked her if she'd like to dance with me, even though she's with another man, which was slightly obnoxious of me. But she stepped up and walked away from him and came to join me, which is amazing. I knew early on that she was very special. Within weeks, I was sure that I would marry Tam, and someone I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. It was the summer following Bay's arrival, and Tam she'd lost a fair amount of weight at what felt like quite quick rates, and she was quite low on energy, and that led into really quite a long period of kind of investigation and scans and endoscopies and all sorts of stuff that led to a diagnosis in September of that year. Tam remained almost right to the end adamant that she was going to be able to beat it, and was very positive about every step of the way. Hi there. We've just come to hang a leaf on the memory tree. I think the first time we came across St Peter's was just prior to Christmas last year. The way in which it differed from the hospital experience was really significant, because all of a sudden it felt like you had more people on hand. It felt like the people who were there were more in tune with the kinds of needs that someone in Tam's situation held as important to them. I think we used fairly straightforward terms when we first introduced the hospice to Lewis and Bay. I think we called it a special hospital with more people to look after Mummy. They really enjoyed being able to run out in the gardens and tear around the maze at the hospice, and there was just a sense of freedom to it, and a much more human scale to it than there had been up at Southmead, which was fantastic, but in no way the same. The hospice environment was wildly different from that. We could put up a do not disturb sign on the door at Tam's choice. She went from a 3 or 4 hour sleep pattern to all of a sudden being able to sleep all night. It was small things that made a big difference in feeling of the place, and that atmosphere is all down to the people in that building and how they go about doing what they do.
So all the best to you, okay? Stay strong. Okay, lovely to see you.
Tam had her own bathroom. The space and the privacy that room gave us meant that I could take Tam to the bathroom so she could have a wash, and I could put some moisturiser on her legs because they were dry, and just that privacy and affords people time to have conversations that they need to be having, and they're conversations that will stick with people for a long, long time. Bay, I wonder if there's going to be lots of spiders down here. Should we keep an eye out? Yeah? It's not somewhere to be scared of, it's not something to fear, it's something to look forward to being able to embrace in a way that I never thought it would be. Okay, Bay, just walk in nicely, pop it. There we go. Now, Bay, can you find us a nice place to hang the leaf? I think it's a very hard thing to put a monetary value to, but the experience and the legacy that care leaves for me and the girls and everyone else who experienced it, Tam included, you can't put a value on that. Hang it. Can you hold this in place? Hold it.
There's a spider on your hands, babe.
Oh, Bay, that's quite a big spider.
Yay!
Don't worry. Okay.
No, it's fine.
I feel a bit foolish for having thought of the hospice in the way we did, having lived through an experience there. I think Tam was scared of even uttering the name. You okay? You feel a bit better about that spider now? Well done. I would like for people not to be scared of it, and I would like for people to appreciate what an amazing service it is. Okay, there we go. It's all nice and tight now. Okay? Should we leave it there? Okay. In that way we'll always whenever we come back, we can remember Mummy and come see that, okay? Tam had a room of her own, and that was hugely important. Not everyone's experience is the same as Tam's, because not everybody gets their own room. You can help St Peter's build a hospice with a single bedroom for every patient. To donate, visit roomtocare.co.uk so that everyone can have a room of their own.